on my phone and see if I can see. Ooh, I see us. I think we're live. Welcome, everyone. If you're out there in Facebook land or YouTube, we have a great crew tonight, and I'm super excited to talk about SUP Travel. A few just housekeeping things. This will be recorded, so for those friends of especially a couple of the people where it's very late at night, I know in Europe it is, you can send them to the recording. It will be on YouTube later. But without further ado, I want to jump in. I am a travel geek and I have totally missed travel. I don't know about you guys, but especially being addicted to water, SUP travel. So we have a whole bunch of different people here who are leaders in the SUP industry in a bunch of different ways, which I think is cool, from luxury to camping. Some of them are full-time, full service. Some of them wear a whole bunch of different hats in the SUP, or maybe have regular day jobs, different specialties like yoga and whitewater. Some are on location, so you come to them. Some of them bring you on trips. And also there's self-serve. We have somebody who helps people find, when you're traveling, a place to stand up paddle or people to help you stand up paddle. So yay, it works. My name's Kristen Thomas. KT Outside is kind of a new thing. The outside is supposed to have double meaning, outside the box, because I'm trying to think differently, trying to come up with my part-time, mostly volunteer work. I was the founding executive director of SUPIA, the SUP Industry Association, and that is part of how I got really involved in stand-up paddling about 8 years ago. But first it was racing, and still my passion, stand-up paddle racing. So doing a whole bunch of different things in the industry. But again, we have a crew, and I want to start by giving them all a few minutes just to tell about their business and what they're doing in the business. And I'm going to start with Rob. So if you're muted, unmute yourself and let's talk. You there, Rob? Let's see, I can't see everybody at the same time. I can't hear Titus. Can you not hear me? Yeah, turn yours up. Rob, are you there? Well, we might come back to Rob if his isn't working. How about David?
Can you hear me, Kristen?
Yes, fantastic. Why don't you
Perfect.
tell us about what you do?
Sure. My name is Dave Sartoni. I live in Reno, Nevada. Originally, I'm from Italy, and I am a river and whitewater SUP instructor. I offer classes on the river in Coloma, California, on the South Fork of the American River. And I also offer specialty trips in a variety of locations, both in country and outside the country on rivers. So in the country, the Salmon River is a trip that I've done for a couple of summers now, and that's a beautiful river in the wilderness of Idaho. And then outside of the country, obviously some of the trips have been affected by our global pandemic this year, but places where I have taken folks on river trips include Costa Rica, Chiapas, Mexico, and Europe.
Awesome. Absolutely fantastic. And it is a specialty that you need sometimes instruction. And I know when I was hoping to be in Northern California a little while back, I was going to be working with you. Let's see. Aaron, do you mind going next? I'm not sure if we're,
can you hear me?
Yay!
Hi. Hey, everybody.
Sorry, I'm surprising them. I didn't tell them the order.
Yeah, thank you again, Kristen, for organizing this. It's really cool to get everybody's perspective and specialties in the SUP travel world. So thank you again for organizing this. So my name's Erin O'Malley. I'm the owner of Sunset Stand Up Paddle out of Laguna Beach, California. originally from the Sierras, the mountains near Yosemite, and have, pretty much been guiding here in the local area for the past 7 to 8 years. Had Sunset for about 6, and have recently in the past several years been diving more into not only local lessons and tours, but destination excursions to areas like Catalina, the Sierras, Black Canyon, Colorado, which a couple of us on this panel have been to together, which is fun. And I've had the honor of doing some SUP yoga teacher trainings with Michelle Gerst, who's here with us. And then of course, partnering with the one and only Rob Macias for some trips into Solulita, which Kristen is also a part of for this upcoming year. So I love the kind of juxtaposition or the combination, if you will, of being able to do destination travel and then just educate locals here on ocean paddling safety and skills.
Fantastic. How about you, Titus? Can you get really close to the microphone? We're going to get up close and personal with your beard. We can't really hear you. Do you have any of these? I'm going to come back to you. And Mike and Victoria are partners. Titus, I'll come back to you because I can't hear you right now. Okay.
Hey, what's up? How are you guys?
Great. How are you, Victoria?
Awesome.
Hi, guys. So I'm really stoked to be on this call with all these travelers and stand-up paddleboarders. Victoria and I are partners in our SUP caravan travel business, and I've been the owner of Mike's Paddle in the Bay Area for about 6 years. And about 4 years ago, we started doing trips in Croatia, Taiwan, Costa Rica, and Mexico. And I was sort of counting the number of countries that Victoria and I have individually or co-traveled together. It was something around 40 countries already. So we're really stoked to share our passion with you. So if you have any questions, let us know. We're always traveling and always having fun on the water. Cheers.
Fantastic. And Arturo?
Hello all. Kristen, thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure being with such a wonderful group of co-workers through the world. We're based in Panama City. Panama is an amazing destination when you have a really amazing mix of cultures and also water. We have specific trips that we usually do around the Pacific, the Atlantic, the rivers, and the lake that surrounds Panama. And it's a very, very cool mixture of food, of culture, and obviously great sightseeing. More or less, we started 6 years ago, close to 6 years ago, more interested in the retail part of the business, but then due to all the changes, the business has expanded to other types of business, and tourism is one of them. For us, we're in the Panama Canal waters, not on the locks, but actually in the Panama Canal waters. It makes it really appealing for everybody to start learning there. So it's a great new destination in the Latin American territory.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you. And Ben, all the way from the UK.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's great. Well, thanks again for having us all on. It's fantastic to be here. I'm co-owner of the Water Skills Academy with a good friend of mine, Chris Ray. The Water Skills Academy is primarily a training organization, training instructors and guides to expedition level. And we also run some speciality SUP journeys throughout the year. Scotland is our self-supported wilderness trip into one of the remotest areas of the west coast of Scotland. We run a trip to Nepal every year. It was the first descent actually by stand-up paddleboarder, the Kaligandaki. And then we also do a specialist trip to Norway, which is off a boat, quite a unique boat, which is a charter for a week, sort of a high-end charter. So yeah, that's us. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. And I think it's very unique that you have some training courses, at least I haven't seen them anywhere else in the world, that are specifically for, I think the ACA has a guide one, but guides and expeditions and different levels of that. I think that's really fascinating. Let's have Julie.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, it helps if you unmute. Hi, I'm Julie Devoir, and I am owner of Undertoe, Mexico, with my husband Curtis. We have been here 6 years. We bought the business and moved from the Pacific Northwest down here. We were a cruise ship destination, but now, since there's no cruise ships, the entire village is kind of rebuilding itself and trying to be a little more eco-friendly, have a little more specialties, and just get people out there exploring the ruins, the culture of the area. We've got a lot of wonderful things. We've got fishing. We're right off the Mesoamerican reef, so we have protected waters. We do some local excursions. We do a bit of downwinding. We do a little bit of yoga. We do a little bit of everything. We have a lot of great people here we work with too. So when we do retreats, we can do from like budget minded to, you know, your own cooks and luxury rooms and all that. So we have a wide range of services that we can do. And I think it's wonderful how you put this together, Kristen. I think water is a great unity, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Now, Tim Sanford's business, Perfect Paddles, is a little different. It isn't a destination, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of you know of it and might even be involved. Tim, are you there and able to unmute yourself?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this, Kristen. I mean, this is what we're all about here. Perfect Paddles is promoting everybody that's here and getting people excited to paddle and travel post-pandemic. And it's amazing. I love that it's November. It's chilly here in Los Angeles, and we're talking about paddle trips around the world. I've been teaching in LA. I'm actually a paddleboard instructor. I have a paddle school here called Paddle Method. I've been teaching for about our 10th year. And I'm also a paddle traveler, and I like to go wherever I can go and paddle, take my board with me, find people to paddle with. And I really built this site just to make it easier for people to find places to go and connect with the great pros that are out there. Just teaching where we teach, you know, I think we all probably know this, but the more you paddle, the more you can paddle, the more you want to paddle, the more stuff you can do. And the diversity that's in this, you know, all the activities people do, from cavern paddles, downwinders, subsurfing, yoga, fitness, just to promote and celebrate how big this sport really is. And I just wanted to build this site to kind of make this easier for people to kind of, you know, travel and go places and paddle. So I love this, that you're doing this, Kristen. I appreciate it very much. It's great to see everybody here too. And I'm excited to talk more about this.
Very fun. Thanks, Tim. And Michelle.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, is that Titus?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, well, we'll jump back there.
Just
there you
go
are.
to Michelle first and get back to me, yeah? Okay, cool.
And then we'll do Michelle. And Rob, we haven't forgotten you. Oh, he muted again. Okay, back to Michelle. Not very high tech, am I?
Hi, I'm Michelle Gerst, and I am the Liquid Yogi. Thank you guys. And wow, I just want to quit my job and like go travel with all of you guys. And Kristen, thank you for putting this together. I had no idea. I mean, I knew there was a lot of people out there doing this, but man, yes. Gosh, I've been paddling a while, and probably as long as you, Kristen, and you, Erin, and that's kind of how I met the two you beautiful ladies. I am in by no means sense of the word a fast racer like the both of you ladies, but I try to specialize in yoga on paddle boards. That was kind of really my thing. And what I really do for a living is I'm an accountant. So the two worlds of yoga and accounting, I'm not so sure. But it helps me with my retreats. And we started doing retreats to various places, gosh, maybe 10 years ago. With my partner in crime, Jeremy from Olympus Board Shop here in Los Angeles. And we were just inviting people on vacations because they would see our beautiful pictures. And we were like, just come with us, just come with us. And I tell you, it wasn't until I started doing retreats that people started coming with. It's crazy to me. We were like, come with us for free, but no, they wanted to pay. So that's just the way things are. And I've been lucky enough to be in about 20 different places running retreats. I used to work with a partner years ago, and that didn't work out so well. So I had to learn some very expensive lessons from that. So I don't offer as many now as I used to because it's a lot of work. But you'll see up here on the screen, we're doing a Galentine's in Baja, February 11th through the 15th. And it worked out so well last year. We had 11 beautiful souls with us, and married, not married, doesn't matter. Sometimes we have a token guy that comes with us. So, hey, Galentine's doesn't always have to be Galentine's. Anyway, Kristen, thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate, and the company that I'm here with is just astonishing. So thanks.
It is a great, great crew, and you are wonderful, Michelle. And I happen to be going on that trip that I'm very excited about with my good friend who lost her husband, Titus.
Hi. You can definitely hear me now. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, nice to see you all. Nice to see you today. I've heard a lot about you. Yeah, basically, I started 5 years ago, as you can see from the pictures there, leading expeditions in the amazing western fjords of Norway. And we specialize in doing 5 and 8 day minimalist expeditions. So we're really into getting back into nature, doing leave no trace. I'm an ex-Royal Marine Arctic survival expert, so I'm able to help people really engage with the nature we have there, and we try and bring a lot of money to introduce the local culture and the Norwegian foods, and bring money into the small communities that we visit. They're very small communities, not even roads to some of these towns. And it just, from starting 5 years, it just exploded. I mean, even next year, we're expecting to host 315 people, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And on 26 different expeditions. So it's, I'm just loving it. Loving meeting all the people we had last year from 20 different countries. And yeah, I mean, I love talking about it and answering questions. So I think your hardest job will be to get me to shut up when you ask any questions. But I'll do my best. Just mute me whenever you like. I won't be offended.
And I just have to quickly say, when I just briefly looked at what you do and your picture, and that what you will get from the trips includes being able to Photoshop or something like that. I just love your, I stole that. That's your profile picture on Facebook.
oh yeah, that's his, it's all Photoshop. Sadly, the abs are Photoshop too. And the two furs on there, actually my cat's bed, my 2 cats' beds, and everything's Photoshop. I'm actually not even stood on the water there.
Well, it looks real, and it's awesome. Yeah, and it fits.
Everything else, nothing else is Photoshopped. All the pictures you see there, you know, it's hard to take a bad photograph, honestly, where we paddle. Yeah. Beautiful.
So many amazing locations. So thank you for that. And can we go back? Rob, I couldn't hear you. Can we hear you now?
I'm here now.
Yay!
Yay! Sorry, I can follow basic instructions of unmuting myself. So yeah, I'm Rob with Flow World Travel. And I just want to say what a rad group of people. I'm pretty sure between all of us, we have like half the globe covered of stand-up paddle vacations. So this might be like the go-to for everyone to find what works for them. But anyways, we do adventure travel around the world. We currently do Spain, Sayulita, Thailand, Australia. It's all listed there, I guess. We started as a stand-up paddle company locally in Sacramento 7 years ago, but we've kind of evolved more into adventure travel. So we do a little bit of everything on our trips. And while we always will stand-up paddle for sure, we'll do kind of just whatever the best of that area is. So like in Thailand, we'll do hiking, or we charter a lot of private boats out to islands and lagoons and things of that nature. So kind of adventure travel for everyone. Our average demographic is mostly women, to be honest. We have like 35 to 55-year-old women. So we're always welcoming and looking for more men to join us if you're out there. But yeah, that's what we do.
And
I'm really glad to see. What's that?
I just wanted to say I highlighted Alaska because that's your newest trip that's going to start next year, right?
Yeah, so talk about diversity. I mean, all of us are kind of facing the new challenges. So most of our locations, or all of them, were, out of country, and trying to diversify and find options in these challenging times. We decided to do some domestic trips. So I just got back from Alaska a month ago, and if you haven't been, you need to go. It is absolutely stunning. We paddled a glacier, saw bears and eagles, and it was really amazing. And we were fortunate enough to actually almost fill the whole trip already. So that's been a blessing from the gods above. We're currently looking good for Sayulita because Mexico's open, Panama's open, and St. Martin is open. And all of those spots have, Mexico you can just fly into, but Panama and St. Martin are also relatively easy to go to. I mean, there's a lot of places we can go still right now that are open, but the restrictions are you have to have a result within 72 hours, and you're kind of banking on getting that result before you land. And if you don't, you're kind of stuck. So anyways, yeah, Alaska's been an exciting new thing for us, and we're looking forward to 2021. And I just want to say it's great to see some of your faces, because I've chatted with many of you like over social media, and specifically Julie lately has been giving me all the insight on the Riviera Maya location. So thanks, Julie.
Fun. That's cool that I get to introduce some of you for the first time. Let's see. We did Julie, Tim, Michelle. Did we get to everybody? I mentioned Samo wasn't able to make it, but one of the first trips that I saw was Slovenia, and I have just followed his pictures forever. And I've never met him, but he just seems like a great guy. But I guess he wasn't up for 2 a.m. or whatever it is in Slovenia. So back, did I miss anybody? Unmute yourself if I did. Okay. It's funny because I've lost the cursor, but I know it's here somewhere. Stop share is what I'm trying to do to get us all back. Hopefully now it's still showing on the screen. Sorry, where is our Zoom? Come back, people. There you are. Cool, we're all back, yay. So, so much to talk about just in terms of kind of travel in general. So some of you mentioned it. It's been a tough year on so many levels, and we don't want to minimize the seriousness of COVID and everything. Some people have been able to do some travel. I was on a trip with Aaron River that was open and safe, where people came from other states, and when it was allowed, and we were outdoors, what is it called? Not propelled. There's a word for it when you carry your own stuff in camp. Thank you.
Self-supported, you got it.
Self-supported. I am not the travel expert. But in terms of looking forward and being optimistic, in 2021, we're all hoping for a reset, even with spikes that are happening now. So I think it's a good time to be dreaming and thinking about travel. And not only those of us who are just addicted to travel and can't wait to do more, but I think we have this whole new surge of people who are getting into stand-up paddling during COVID. It's an outdoor activity, and some of you probably have seen some of the stats, but outdoor activities like camping, biking, and water sports and individual watercraft skyrocket. So this crazy beginning of the COVID, when stores thought they were going to have to go out of business, had this full turnaround and then ran out of boards. So I think there's new opportunities, I hope, for all of you to make up for the tough year that you've had. But does anybody want to share anything that they've done? Like, for instance, Rob had a great one that he had international travel and he's looking somewhat at domestic because it's more realistic and easier to travel that way. Has anybody else been able to pivot in any way? Titus?
Yeah, well, we did pretty much the same thing. Early on in 2020, I sort of saw what was happening, and I saw that the governments were just going to leave this to drag out over the summer, because if they called it right at the beginning of the season, I think that would have put so many like big companies out of business straight away, like the airlines and the large holiday companies just wouldn't have coped. So that's why they let it play out for so long. Unfortunately for us smaller operators, and our customers, that's a very hard pill to swallow. So quite early on in the season, I sort of called it and sent a letter explaining what I believed was happening to my customers, my guests, I call them rather. And at that point, we had 230, and I managed to convince 210 of them and I let them take their deposits all the way around to 2021. And then I started marketing to the Norwegian company. And also there was a couple of Scandinavian countries which were still allowed to come in, and just changed my market. But then what you're essentially doing is you're selling a different product, because your domestic market is very much different from the international. Normally out of 250 people, we had like 2 Norwegians. So it is mostly international. So I don't know about the rest of you, but Norwegians are a very different crowd to sell to than international market. And we were very lucky. But we managed to do about 20% of what we would have managed to do otherwise on a reduced timetable. So like I said, if you do to a domestic market, you're basically having to market a whole new product from scratch. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that. They found that's true also.
Yeah, we have some partners in Croatia that we partner with when we go to trips there, and so he did the same thing and decided to market internally. But I think that obviously the price points are different domestically, and then also the offering is different, and so I think we're seeing that that issue. So
myself, I've been focusing more on the local instruction and building a lot of excited river paddlers that I'm hopefully going to take on trips in 2021, and then also working on some domestic trips. We ran a pretty fun trip on the Salmon River over the summer.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys hung in there, and boy, it sounds like there's a lot of positivity in this group for a time that's been very challenging. So stick with it, and I'm hoping all of your businesses do grow. But let's talk about some of the COVID aside challenges because you all really have quite different businesses, from full-time to having other full-time jobs and doing this on the side. Some of you have shops, equipment and getting it to these locations, working with different people. What are some of the challenges in being a SUP travel? It's a newish sport or recreational activity. Is that an issue?
One thing I might put out there is I get questions all the time, and people say, well, your trips look awesome, but I don't really know how to stand-up paddle, or I'm not a big stand-up paddler. Mm-hmm. So we're often kind of trying to coach people through the idea that anybody can learn to stand-up paddle. And not only that, but you know, I think the majority of people who stand up paddle are weekend paddlers, or maybe they go 3 or 4 times, you know, during the course of a season. But there's so many options out there. I mean, for me, like, we don't do really like advanced level paddling, or it's not like, you know, high performance type of paddling. So it works good for us, but man, this is a great group for people to reference, if, because I think between all of us, we have every different kind of paddling option available. You know, like I said, we only will paddle on flow trips, you know, maybe 1 or 2 epic paddles through a killer lagoon or something. But between all of us here, I think, you know, you could get a little bit of everything, a little bit more specific if you want, or dialed in. But I guess my point was, that's the obstacle that I face with Flow World Travel, is trying to get people to understand that you don't have to be like a serious hardcore paddler to go on our vacations, but more so somebody who's just adventurous and willing to learn, because we'll teach you there. I mean, what better place to learn than like on the shores of Thailand? But that's something that I face with my people. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other challenges you've had in trying to create your trips?
Kristen, hi, it's Michelle here. When we first started doing this, the inflatable paddle boards were not anything like they are now. I mean, I remember bringing on trips 12. When we first did our first Costa Rica, it was like we brought 10 inflatable paddle boards, and I try not to do that so much anymore. It's a lot of and yet when I've tried to rent from people in various locations, that's been tough too. So, you know, there's those challenges. So I consistently, probably like Rob, go back to the places where I know the equipment is, and the equipment is good. And I mean, we've been to the Galapagos and Spain and England, and I'm so grateful. I'm not tooting a horn, but I mean, going to the Galapagos, right? Do we bring our own boards? Do we not bring our own boards? And so that's definitely a challenge. I try never to take people, and I think Erin would probably say the same thing. She probably taught me this, as a matter of fact. I try never to go to a location if I haven't already gone and scouted it out and been there. And I know lots of yoga teachers who have taken people on retreats, and lots of things have happened because they don't know the location. So I try to go with people who have been there before, or definitely go there and scout it out myself. And I'm sure maybe everyone else probably suggests the same thing. I don't know, but I've heard too many war stories.
Smart. Any other
I just want to
thoughts?
say that we've tried all the different types, you know, subcontract, do it ourselves, and anywhere in between. And so there's drawbacks to all of those things. So, you know, we have gear in Costa Rica right now that's probably rotting. You know, inflatable boards in tropical climates. We got to go fix boards in Baja. But yet we have a great partner in Croatia that we brought boards to him every year, and now he has a thriving business. And so what we've learned over the time is that it's better to have locals to help you. One, you know, you're helping the economy, you're helping the people, and you're building the culture together. And ultimately, it makes a much better product. And then you invest them long term so that you build trust, and you build, you know, you build that relationship. And so even though the profit margin might be a little bit smaller in the beginning, but over time, you're going to see such a better product that you can offer your clients. Now we have basically 3 locations, actually 4 locations, where we don't have to worry about equipment. Everything is there already. Shuttles are there, drivers are there, hotels are the same. You know, the resorts are the same. We can expect the same kind of quality all the time. So,
yeah, I think that's the same, but that's really in terms of kind of do 2 things, like the Nepalese trips that we run. We, you know, that was a first ascent of that river by stand up, and then I think there had only been one maybe 2 other people into the country with boards before. So you know, we've left boards there. We've trained one of our guides stayed on after the trip and trained some of the raft guides, so they can carry on training some of the locals in the area, using a local outfitter who knows obviously knows the area really well. Yeah, so it's been quite a big thing for us that we always send one of our high-level guides with a group, you know, just to make sure that sort of safety is covered off, and the experience that we want our guests to have. So yeah, it's never a challenge to get a guide to go to Nepal or the west coast of Scotland, that's for sure.
No, wonderful. Well,
one of the
yeah,
challenges that I've seen with organizing river trips is that what might be fun for an advanced river paddler is overwhelming for a beginner river paddler. So the challenge of finding a river that can provide, you know, suitable terrain or water for all types of river paddler is one of the big challenges that have encountered. But a good way to solve that is on our multi-day trips, we have raft support. So folks that can basically customize their level of excitement based on you know, what their ability level is. We also get the opportunity to bring on trips folks that maybe are not interested in paddling. They're a family member that just want to be along for the ride, but not actually get on a stand-up. And we provide options for our non-multi-day trips where there's other activities that folks can do when their loved ones are out paddling on a river. They can go on a wildlife tour, they can go fishing, or on a hike or zip lining or something like that.
Great. That's a really good transition into, again, you guys have very different businesses and very different customers, but what are some of the other things that you found are highlights? You've mentioned some things, Titus, and a couple of you said like whatever the local culture, you know, shares or those opportunities. Are there certain activities that you found are really kind of highlights to go along with the stand-up paddling? Some of you are really focused on stand-up. Some of you, it's more like a vacation that has stand-up paddling in it. What are some of some things?
I have a couple of on the like I said, I'm very sort of niche and just have the one type of product, but in that we do try and extend it a bit. We have we work together with Gutsy Girls, so we have women only expeditions, and also I'm a Wim Hof method instructor, so I usually give people a Wim Hof method instructional course there, and we're always in the fjords and in the waterfalls, which are freezing all year round. And that goes down very well. Yeah. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, we have one expedition which is focused on personal development by being in nature, you know, and being very present. We do a lot of focusing on that. So even though we're just a very niche sort of thing, you can introduce aspects which expand that to like I said, have different types of expeditions we do. You can have different ways of doing the same thing, I suppose.
Very cool. Anybody else about other activities?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Kristen?
Mm-hmm.
And mine is not in the vein as much of activity, but for our domestic trips here, especially along the West Coast, one of my new, you know, visions is to incorporate as much local other companies in other areas of business, utilizing local bakeries and local breweries and artisan foods and bringing them into the fold as well, so that when we go on these trips, we have really delicious, local, sustainable foods and making the experience inclusive to those things. I mean, not that we can't all survive on, you know, a packet of hot ramen, but to do that and to, you know, teach people about local farming and community-supported agriculture has been a growing edge for us as we include it into our trips. So yeah.
Good stuff. Well, it was
Kristen,
mentioned a couple, oh, go ahead.
Kristen, sorry, just
Michelle.
a quick one. And
Yeah.
I'm sure all the other lovely people on this, you know, sustainability has been one thing that we have always tried to teach people on our trips. And we all love the ocean so much. And I mean, I'll bring people on trips that tell me how much they love the ocean and, you know, straws and plastic and everything. So I gently try to guide them, and we have times that we talk about this. And Erin did this so eloquently, and you on our trip when we went on the Hoover Dam trip. It's something we have to teach people in the nicest, kindest way. And sometimes when you're traveling, people don't always think about that. So I always put in the footnotes of when we have people coming with us on trips, please be mindful. And, you know, Erin sent us packing lists. So I always send packing lists and suggestions, and please be eco-friendly. We also try to do give back. So we always try to go to an orphanage or a school and show, you know, we have so much that we really have to show the people. We're staying in these beautiful locations, but what is the local culture doing? And so like when we go to the Baja, we go to visit these kids, and it has been one of the, you know, one of the things I never thought I would do is teach like the kids, and we teach them and we bring them things and teach them yoga and try to talk to them. And my Espanol is muy poquito, so that's just like really, but to see these little kids like see us on these boards, and then we were in Thailand and they were wanting to borrow the board, you know, I mean, it's just my heart, it's so full when you see that. So I think we're such ambassadors to that. And when we bring these people with us, you know, you don't want to like, but you have to kind of ease them into the sustainability factor of everything.
Super good point. Yeah.
I would like to add, sorry about that, but I would like to add in the sustainability part, it's also the community factor. We're visiting these communities within rivers and lakes. And one of the things before and after COVID, our trip started with the club. We have a 100 people club, very private, very, very community enthusiast, right? And you're taking this, the trips that we do, domestic, around 50 people per trip. And every time that we go to this community, sometimes we bring with us like notepads and things for kids for school and to leave them something. You know, we try their food, and we are received in a different way, and we're seen in a different way. Because, you know, you're coming from any trip in the US, and you are guaranteed that when you're visiting that river, you're taking something for a child. And that's, you know, those things obviously talk really good about our community, and people really are very enthusiastic about that. And that's it's a big plus for us in the communities near the rivers in Panama. They're not as fortunate as the communities they are nearby the city.
Well, thank you. You guys are doing wonderful things.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up, Rob just walked away, darn it. At the beginning,
I'm right here. What's up?
threw out about women. I find it interesting looking at your pictures. I really did see, I thought, oh, maybe that's just some of the trips I know about in women's only. We do know that from stats that there are more women in the sport of stand-up paddling than there've ever been in a water sport, and probably half, maybe even more than half. But I'm surprised the trips, maybe some of you don't experience this, but even when they're not women's only trips, it looks like a lot of the trips are a high percentage women. Is that true for yours?
Well,
yeah.
Like Rob said before, and I can tell you because I have good analytics, and our main demographic is women between 35 to 45, 35 to 48 actually, by a long margin, and very often the men will be brought along by the woman too. So I would say about 75 to 78%. Is the woman coming on our trips. How'd it go with the rest of you?
I've experienced the same, and interestingly enough, I've experienced the same in my local instruction, and it's something that I think it's unique, maybe of at least from the river perspective, it's something unique to our area, because everywhere else I've traveled in the world to stand up paddleboard on rivers, it seems like it's more like 4-to-1 men to women in the sport. So there's a lot of really adventurous women in Northern California. that are getting into the sport, and it's really cool to see that, because I think they're bringing a lot to the sport that we didn't have before.
And that is interesting to me, because I would think that you're, of all the ones, because yours is sort of that more aggressive whitewater that has traditionally been men. I love hearing that there's lots of women on your trips too. One group that I didn't bring anybody in on that I should have was surfing. So SUP surfing, I know there's some great schools down in Nosara, Costa Rica. You have surfing there in Panama, but that's of course a specialty too that has been more male oriented, but I understand SUP surfing camps have a lot of women. So I love that stand up, whether, you know, at that entry level brings more women into it, and they therefore filter into different aspects like the traditionally male, more aggressive things, which shouldn't be, but.
I hate to say it, but our shop is very instruction oriented, and we do have a lot of retail as well. And so our retail customers are mostly men, and our instruction customers are mostly women. And so in the 9,000 people that we've taught in the past 6 years, 70% are women. And actually, it's great to see women getting instruction, especially in SUP surfing. Victoria is a great SUP surfer. We go every Thursday, and most of our students are women as well. So it's really great to see that. I come from the whitewater world where it's kayaking and where it's more than 4-to-1. It's like 10-to-1. You'd be glad to see any woman in a kayak. But in SUP, it's such a different world. It brings everybody onto the water. So I'm really grateful.
And I could speak to that. I was in whitewater kayaking for many, many years, and it is a very small ratio, and it's really cool to run trips internationally and just have like these, it grows me as a woman to be involved with these trips that are just like 10, 11 of us on an adventure. And it's really cool, especially with our yoga stuff, because we add a little bit of like spirituality and life experience and these discussions that you don't really have in like all the like men's adventure type groups. And our business does that as well when we do advanced downwinding retreats and Baja and stuff. But it really is special when we're like in a sacred space in Croatia or Costa Rica, and it's just all of us women coming together and just talking about life, and then also creating experiences that push them a little bit. I'm a big fan of perceived risk. And I think that if you can create perceived risk for women where the risk is not actually that high, but the perceived risk is really high, it's really cool to see them grow and their experience and the development that they have through that. And the amount of women that say like, this was a life-changing experience for me. That's something that drives me to stay involved in this industry. So yeah.
Super cool.
Before we get too far away from that, I just wanted to mention, so at my paddle school in Los Angeles, I'm kind of like everybody else. We do a lot of mostly women, probably same numbers, 65%. And it's early stages for analytics for Perfect Paddles for sure. But honestly, it seems to be almost the reverse in terms of visits to that site. And I don't know if that's a trend. I don't know if it's an anomaly, but it may be that there's something there, and we'll kind of monitor that. But it is interesting. There's a lot of men looking for trips. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more of the whitewater stuff and the we're seeing some interesting family-oriented trips, but surfing and whitewater stuff. So I don't know. We'll see kind of how that develops.
Interesting. Love an update on that. Hey, I did post the Zoom link on Facebook, and we have someone who's signed on, Stephanie. So I think she wants to ask a question. So let's try this out since we haven't done this before, and invite her in and have her ask you guys a question. Stephanie, connecting to audio. Of course, Zoom takes a minute. Look at this great group. This is really fun. Are you guys looking at this in grid format too, so you can see everybody?
No.
Yes. It is fun. It's the first time I've done this.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I've done a lot of, I love the one-on-one interviews, but this is neat to have many. Stephanie, can you hear us? Did you have a question you wanted to ask? You're muted right now.
Hi.
Hi, Stephanie.
Okay, it's weird because I'm listening to you guys on Facebook at the same time.
Yeah, you might have to turn one down. You might have that echo thing.
Okay, it's down. No picture today because the hair's in a ponytail and I'm working hard. I'm listening to you guys. The question I have is, what type of certifications do you recommend that all guides carry and that people look for when they're booking trips with different types of organizations to ensure that they're staying safe and that they're getting the right instruction? And my other follow-up question is, what tips and advice do you have for people who are looking to start guiding in the SUP world, who maybe have been coming from hiking and backpacking?
Anybody want to start that one?
Yeah, I'm a ACA and a paddle fit instructor trainer. So I would train instructors in both worlds. Both are really great organization within the US. You know, I'm sure in Europe they have the equivalent as well. I would say that to get into guiding and instructing, it's best to, you know, get your certification and then teach as much as you can and share the stoke, because that's the only way that you're going to get better at teaching. So.
I would like to add, same as Mike, I'm an ISA level 2 instructor for SUP surfing and SUP flat water, and also a paddle fit instructor. And I also recommend try to I don't know how to work with your committee, with your surfing committee, surfing federation, or in my case, in the case in Panama, we're working very closely with the Olympic Committee, because we are in the ISA World Cup in Salvador in December with the national team, and we've been using a lot of Olympic solidarity for new sports with the U.S. Embassy in Panama. So all those, the more that you can get certifications and something that it may work your resume, it's always great. It's always great.
From the river perspective, I would say in the US, the ACA is the gold standard for river SUP instructor certification. There's other countries around the world that provide the similar certifications and other ones that do not. So I would say look for somebody who has maybe like a kayaking certification on the river. The other big one is to make sure that your river guides are certified in some type of swiftwater rescue or river rescue certification, and that they have the adequate first aid qualification for the environment that they're guiding in.
I think a little bit biased because obviously we run guide training, so I always think a guide should be qualified and hold that level of certification. I think a couple of key points should be experience. Obviously, comes with hopefully when you gain that certification, so you can always work as an aspirant guide on some trips, and we make sure that all our guides have quite a lengthy period during their aspirant years, if you like. Some key things: leave no trace, as Titus has already mentioned. I think that's really important in wilderness areas. We always ensure that our guides have got a wilderness first aid high level certification, Rescue 3 international certificate for any moving water environment at all. So
I would add from the outside, I have been a co-guide, an assistant guide, but I'm not a guide. But having worked in the industry and talking about this, we are a young sport. So there are new certification organizations that are good, but are new. But we also have those with a long history already outside, like ACA, that have built stuff up and have a lot. So I wish people, my experience has been, I wish people actually look for certification, but they don't always, and they don't necessarily understand what a SUP certification that's good might be. I definitely think there should be, and great things were mentioned, the safety, and it depends on what kind of trips you're doing and whether that's, first aid or river or, but certifications are important, but as much as I think they're important, I love taking them. I'm not an instructor, but I have paddle fit and level 2 WPA because that was the first one 10 years ago that I could find. But there's still a big variety. One of the things that we didn't do in the industry that I still would love to see is like an accreditation of, looking at all the organizations. I know Julie P. SUPA is another one that's a really good organization that's newer, that's in the US. And Stephanie Ben is from WSA, and I'm going to put links to all these people and their names and their businesses and stuff in that Facebook group, SUP Connect Live and KT Outside discussions. So you can find all of these people later. So wanted to say that before. I'm not sure if Facebook cuts us off. Instagram absolutely cuts us off at an hour. It just stops. So just wanted to give you that heads up as we get close to 1 hour. I also promised these guys an hour, so we won't keep you too much longer. But certainly that's some really important things to talk about. You guys have amazing businesses. I thank you for what you're doing. And I think we all hope for the best. I hope your businesses grow and flourish when we get through all of this, or those who have adapted to making it work in a safe, healthy way. Good on you. Any last thoughts from any of you about SUP Travel?
Can we do this more often?
Just a quick thing. I was going to say, yeah. Will we get contact details for everyone here so we can from you, so we can contact each other? Oh, that's
absolutely.
Cool. Thanks.
I love that. I feel like I started a club.
Yeah.
Hey.
This is awesome, Kristen. This is excellent.
Yeah.
Actually, I took the liberty of taking some screenshots for the whole group, so I already sent Kristen to her phone. So
wonderful. Wonderful.
Really glad
Thanks.
to be here with you guys. Really glad.
Great to be here.
Yeah,
and thank
absolutely.
you, Stephanie, for a great question. And thank you all for being a part of this, and wish you all again the best of luck. And let's heal up, everybody.
Yes.
Country,
you,
world.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Good luck for
All of
next
it.
year, everyone. So.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank you.
guys.
Cheerio.
Bye, you guys.
Good to meet everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye now.